Thank you so much.
Very much please.
Don't make much usually. Make your routine flexible for yourself. See, we all have this optimum study hour, not also productive study hour. For me, I couldn't focus on during the day, so I just there was all this maths, science, maybe science, he said. Well, I just practice. When I am at the peak of my productivity at night, I go for heavier subjects. So never said them I got through prelims, but because of so many blunders and some oversights, I couldn't get through means. Say, I'll tell you how the weakest paper for me became the strongest paper. Say this time, I don't know if the preparation was really bad, because I just prepared for 14 days, I think, after training. I was kind of busy professionally. So I just made the best utilization of the 14 days. The difference I made this time was that I did not focus on quantitative studies, I focused on quality study, quality reading. So what I did now was I tried to add variation to my answers. I tried to refine the knowledge that I had. So that I think that was the differentiating factor. See, whenever we start reading a book, supposing you take modern history, so in the first reading, you just go through a book, just go randomly. You don't have to understand everything. In fact, you don't have to even understand anything. You just have to know what is inside that book, so that you get familiarized with it. All of us, we're all different in our own ways, we're all unique in our own different ways. So just follow your own normal timing. Since I was not a morning person, I'll just start at 5, 6 in the evening, then walk to 4 or 5 till morning. So that's all what I did. Don't make your routine in such a fancy way that it becomes very difficult to follow. Once you make a routine, and then once you break the routine, you get demoralized. You feel that you're not disciplined enough. That's how your inner strength of you is attacked. So be very practical when it comes to your routine. When it comes to resources, say you'll hear today you're hearing the resources from me. Tomorrow another LCS might come and essay might come. They'll give you different resources. But choose the book which you feel more comfortable with, because almost all the book contain the same thing. There are so many books for politics, there are so many books for modern history. They all have the basic content. So it depends on how you find the comfortability with the book. In that case, in that way, you can have the connection with the book, and you'll not feel a burden. It has a burden to read it. So that's how the resources work. And then be very limited with your resources. I'm not discouraging you that you should not read all the subjects. Of course, one must read to get through the exam. But take one book for one subject, another for another book for another subject. That's how it works. Because it's not how many books you read. It's how you read the book. It's the quality sometimes. Of course, quantity also comes at play sometimes, but it's mostly a quality. So revision is very important. No matter how much you read the book, no matter how dedicatedly you read the book, if you don't go for revision, the precision level in the actual exam will get reduced. Instead of just reading the 100 pages and go for the exam without revision, it's better, much better to read just read 50 pages, revise it, and then you go for the exam. Because in that 50 pages, if 10 questions come, you can at least answer 7-8 questions if you have proper revision. But out of the 100 pages, even if 50 questions come, maybe if your revision is not good, you will not even score 40-50% of it. So revision is very important, is a key factor. And then for prelims so it is like this. See, the technical subjects, such as the CSET and science, they are very important differentiator of marks. Because I have some people, when they see numbers, they just get Alchina. They don't even want to try. Because in history, polity, and other subjects, so everybody is studying really hard. If you are able to score 20, even an average student, an average Indian student will be able to score 15. So that about difference one now. Because of whatever those technical subjects, those areas in which people doesn't focus much. Prelims is all about the cutoff. So there's nothing much to worry about prelims. But when it comes to means, even one mark matters. It will make you into either an NCS or a video or an essay. So this the kind of areas in which you should focus is also very important. So he said, of course, he said it's not easy for all of us. We find it boring, but I feel that it is all in the mentality. If you just keep on practicing, you just get with the flow, almost every day. So that's how I got the basics. And then if you get the basics of maths, all those, even the reasoning section, it becomes easier for us because we can always do some inferences and then use the basic formulas for any problems. So the basic of just have to know the basics. So to have that, then the key to getting it is by practicing. So she said science is quite interesting. You just go through and then observe the everyday sciences. Now they are leaning more on the practical aspects of science rather than the factual questions. So that's we should not changing on this. What NPSC is doing, what they are trying to make, what changes they are trying to make. See, up to 2021, I think the questions were quite simple. It was all based on the facts and figures. But as we go forward from 2021, I'm sure you have all set for the exam once or twice. So they are leaning more on conceptual clarity. Of course, there are some mixture of both facts and concept, but it's better. It's always better that we focus on the concept, on the conceptual part. Because once you get the concept, all these facts and figures become easier to be retained. Supposing you know the status of the kind of environment that women have in Nagaland, you just have the basic idea that in the gender equality ranking, Nagaland ranking, one change. Because we all know that Nagaland is quite fiery when it comes to women empowerment. So that's how we connect the thought between concept and facts. That's how we retain facts. As women, we cannot retain all the facts. That's a surety. But having some connection, trying to match the thoughts, that's how we are able to retain the facts for a longer period. And then that's how we make precise guesswork in the exam. As human, we can never be able to understand, know all the questions. Even if you know 100 questions and then you attended 140, the 40 questions will be on guessworks. So guesswork also plays a very important role. When there are different kinds of guesswork. I think it will be better for all of you. It will be different for all of us. But what I do is, when it comes to guesswork, if I able to eliminate two options, I take it as 75 by 25. Because each option carries 25% out of 100%. So if I'm able to eliminate 250, I have 50 in my favor. So I just have to decide between these 225. So if I choose option D, now my chances of getting the answer right is 75%. So do not be afraid to take guessworks. Of course, it should be very calculative. You should not do it randomly, but guesswork, I think, is a necessary evil, I feel. Even if you don't do guesswork, अपनी कीमत बहुत है, अपनी 100 attempt rather than 100 right now, because there will be some basic blunders. So guesswork, if you attempt 40 guessworks, if you get 20 wrong, 20 right, you are still earning at least 10 marks, 10 12 marks. So that's how the dynamics of guesswork works. It's obvious, of course, we should not recklessly over-attempt questions, but we should also never under-attempt. I rather over-attempt than under-attempt. I had this experience last year. All of my friends were attending on 50 and 60. I just attended one because I focused so much on the CSAT that I wasted all my time. So I just, in the other years, my GS score is never below average. It's well above average. But last year when I got essay, it was, I think, in the average. So that was what I learned. So guesswork, the number of questions you attempt, they are very important. Mains is basically how you put your knowledge into action, how you put your knowledge into words. It's not only about knowing the so many concepts or so many facts and figures. It's about how you put it into words, into meaningful conclusion. I think 60% of the work is dependent on how you execute the knowledge. Because even if you know so many things, if you don't know how to write it down in the proper manner, you will not score well. So what we can do to improve this is by practicing writing. Of course, I'm sure you've heard this hundreds of times, but when you start practicing the writings, it will be so bad, you'll just even feel shy to read your own answers. But that's how we all will start. Even when I was in my initial years, I did not take any mock. I did not even care to practice writing. So that cost me dearly. So what we can do is we can have collaboration with your friend, or you can. So you have so many institutions these days. You can always go for mock. Doesn't matter if you do score 40 out of 200, or 180 out of 200, or 140 out of 200. It's all about your improvement. So do not feel shy. If you feel shy, if you are not curious to learn, you'll never learn. Because there are so many competitors here. It's almost a fighting arena. Only the strongest, the most daring will survive. That's a fact. I'm not trying to scare you, but that's a fact. So, if you want to be different from the others, you should do something very differently. Most people doesn't practice writing. That's how they end up scoring not so well in the games. So, keep on practicing. You can just let people check in, give your friend free and friendly reviews. That's how you learn. There was once, I don't know if you know Sir Jujambo, he's STO rank number 1 in PPT. So he gave us this writing session with PPT and about a month. So I learned so much from him. Up until that point, I was sorry that I didn't even to write, but he came in, then he gave us that opportunity. So I learned a lot. So I also want you to know that it's much better to learn from somebody who have already gone through the process. Time management is a very important factor when it comes to mains. Even if you know so many things, even if you know all the answers, if you're not good at time management, you will not be able to complete the paper. If you're not able to complete the paper, again your chances of getting through the exam become slim. So while putting in the quality answers, you should also be mindful of the time. So time management is very important. If you are bad at time management, you'll get pressurized. Even if you know even if you're writing, you'll get the pressure there, you'll just become even worse. So be very good with time management. Time management comes with practice. See, everything is related to practice. Even everything is related to practical aspects. So yeah, even if you don't clear prelims, doesn't matter. Just give mock for mains, so that you'll be prepared for the days to come. Be very curious. Be very curious to learn, especially on the strategies and all. For the knowledge part, you have your books. You can always gain the knowledge. But when it comes to strategy, I'm not telling you to adopt all the strategies that people tell you, but take out the best part of it, which suits your preparation, which suits your style, and then incorporate it into your existing routine or your strategy. That's how you improvise your strategy. That's how you refine your strategy. I was not bold enough to ask people what is wrong with my answers. So that was the biggest mistake I made. Had I known that before, I would have clearly calculated this if it was being taught. So now I knew that something was wrong, not something. It was something very wrong was going on in my GS2. So I started practicing. I went for one mock test. My paper was really bad. Even the person was checking out my paper. They told me कितना से क्या देखिए तो बाने भी मेरा संदेश भी करेक्ट है मेरे so around the year ठीक है तो जो हमारे को नजर मिला I had to do some rectification. So I started practicing at home. Both this exercise then do like that. I stole one sponsorship from EAC and I took additional share I skipped it and also that I could just practice on the actual paper. And I just kept on writing, randomly, I would write about something on my village, something on my room, something like that. So that at least I get the flow of writing. So that's how I did. Then progressively I started focusing on the issues, and then now in TV3, last year when I got essay, I think GS2 was the paper that got me through this last year. See, that's my story of how I turned my weak paper into my strongest paper. Even this year, I have this feeling that I got through because of GS2. I got through this NCS because of GS2. because I put in so much effort into it. All the 3 papers, I give 50% to the PS2, 50% to other 2 papers. The case was such. So I'm repeating again and again, but please practice. If you don't practice, someday when you fail, you'll realize that it's all because of lack of practice. Practice is very important. And then you don't have necessarily, sometimes yes, as human we feel this doubt, this anxiety that we have this feeling. I'm sure we will have it at one point of time. Actually, see, 20, around 15 to 20 candidates filed for this exam. But out of 20,000, out of that, all 20,000, your true competition is within maybe 1,000 candidates, or maybe 400 candidates. That's it. That's your true competition lies there. And you don't have to compete with that 20,000. You just have to compete with that 1,000. Or the best of the best, which comes to 100, 300, 400. Your faith in God. Because no matter how good you are, how good your preparation is, if it is not His will, it is not bound to happen. It will not happen. When you go through this process of NPSC, it's not only about the knowledge you acquire, but it will make you into men and women. It will mold your character. It will refine your personality. That's how we become a better person. Of course, not maybe you are not able to clear the exam, but at least you'll have this knowledge, you'll have this refinement of personality. That's the beauty of NPSC, I believe. So. Just say, it's okay, keep pushing. When your time comes, your time comes. Nothing can stop you when it's your time. So put your faith in God, keep working hard. I have observed something else under the sun. The fastest warrior doesn't always win the race, and the strongest warrior doesn't always win the battle. The wise sometimes go hungry, and the skillful are not necessarily wealthy. And those who are educated are not always lead successful life. It's all decided by fate, by chance, by being in the right place at the right time. So keep your faith in God. Just keep pushing. Be at the right time, at the right moment, and at the right place. Everything that is wrong for you will come to you. Just keep working on. My best wishes to everyone.